Hey, DeVon, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. You're looking well.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, my
I'm
brother.
blessed. See,
Clearly, as the t-shirt says.
that's right. Yeah. So I have been kind of immersed in your new book,
Uh-huh.
and been listening to that and learning a lot more about you than that I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I was curious because it's such a deeply personal book. At what point was it where you thought, uh, I feel I feel okay with opening myself up to the world and sharing all this with them, not even for your sake, but for your mother's sake, your auntie's sake, all that. Just kind of how did that process come about?
It was an organic one. We Audible had reached out a couple years ago, and they had seen an article that I had written for Maria Shriver in her Sunday paper. And in that article, I talked about the women in my life. My mother and my grandmother's 7 sisters, who my mother used and helped to come in and help raise me and my brother. So upon writing that article, when they saw it, they were like, "Oh my goodness, would you ever want to do an Audible book?" I said, okay. And so I went to my mother and went to my great aunts that were still alive, because my grandmother passed away years ago, and said, here's an opportunity. We have an opportunity to tell our story, and I'd love to include you. And they said, oh, we'd love to do it. And then I started writing the book, because even though it's an audio only book, it still has to be based on a manuscript. So as I was
Right.
basing it on, as I was writing the manuscript, there was one version, and then I went in the studio and interviewed each one of them individually. And as we went through those interviews, there was just so much truth and life and transparency that came out. Then I took all of that and rewrote the entire book to capture the depth of what they were giving. And then that also changed what I was giving. So, long answer to your question, it was just an organic one. And I do believe that transparency leads to transformation. And so, through our transparency, if that can transform lives, that was the intent. And certainly worth the discomfort of being vulnerable in order to potentially do that for other people.
Yeah, I think there's so many points of inspiration in your story, and it wouldn't just speak to people like kids who grew up like you. Obviously, people can identify with that and see what you've done, your hard work, and made a success, and that God's been able to use you. But at the same time, I think it would give some comfort to single mothers,
Yeah.
right? And some inspiration, some hope, especially your mom being vulnerable and feeling like maybe there were times she felt like she dropped the ball, but still other people filled in the gaps. God filled in the gaps there.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's amazing, how God is just incredible, right? So he takes a tragedy that we experienced and uses it to produce great triumph in our lives. And only God could do that. My mother was worried, is she going to be able to take care of us? And are we going to be
Right.
okay when we got older? And for us, me and my brother, to be older now. And the answer is yes, we're going to be okay. It's just a testament to God's goodness.
Were your brothers consulted or involved at all in the book, or did they know about it? Is there
Oh
any?
yeah, yeah, they knew about it, definitely, so they participated on background.
Right. Yeah.
They've listened to it and are just blown away by it and just very proud of it.
I love it. That listening to it does feel like a podcast a lot, And when I'm listening to something like that, if I'm out walking or whatever, I feel like I'm part of the conversation, even though
Yeah.
I'm not. I feel like I'm eavesdropping in on it. But
Right.
uh, all of your personalities kind of shine in it, and that's what I thought was really, really good. So many, like I said, so many ways, so many inspirational points that people, there could be women who say, hey, I know somebody's struggling, and like one of your great aunts, I'm going to have to be the one. This middle child's being overlooked,
Yeah.
and I need to be the one to reach out. I need to make a
Mhm.
difference in his life. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And that difference making is critical. I mean, there's a chapter when I talk about Aunt Donna and her impact in my life. And, when she went through a difficult moment with her own daughter, and me being kind of like her surrogate son. I mean, it's amazing just how all of our lives are just interwoven, and we have no idea what happens today can impact us in a very positive way in the future.
One of the things I always look forward, I mean, not only, is talking to you is that you're joyful and you got, it's just really nice. It's a breath of fresh air talking to you. But
Thank you, my brother.
also, you're very interesting because you have so many things going on all the time. When I mean, I wouldn't even dream if I were you. If you have a Google alert on your name, I'm sure it fills up like every day because you've
Oh
got
my goodness.
all this.
And I don't have a Google alert, so.
But every time I turn around, I'm like, oh, DeVon is a part of that, everything. So I know you have this other thing coming on, the Kingdom business. If
Yes.
you want to, I was just curious about that gospel music industry. I know Yolanda's Adams is involved in
Yes.
it, so
Yes.
I know I would imagine it's going to be, kind of a little unfiltered, but at the same time,
Yes.
it's not like a it's not like a trashing though,
No,
is it? Yeah,
no, no,
because
no.
I couldn't see that coming from you. So
No, 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 no. It's, you know what? The movie, I mean, the TV series deals with so many elements. It deals with virtue and vice. It deals with brokenness. It deals with jealousy. It deals with envy. It deals with ageism. It deals with ego. It deals with truth. There's so many themes that are explored through this series, Kingdom Business, that I can't wait for people to see it. I think the storytelling is great. The acting is great. Yolanda Adams, even though she's a gospel music star, she is starring in this series as an actress, and she does a beautiful, powerful job. Kirk Franklin has a role. He's also exec producer. It's a TV series that comes out on BET Plus on May 19th. All 8 episodes are coming out so people can stream them. And I think this is going to be people's new favorite show because of all the things that we explore, and there's great music, and it's a really good, entertaining show.
was it your idea, or was it something that somebody else was doing and they say, hey, we want to get DeVon involved in this, and kind of put your touch to it?
Yeah, it was something someone else was doing, and then they said, hey, we want to get you involved, DeVon, and you put your touch to it. And so, at the time, Kirk was already attached, and then I brought on Dr. Holly, and we started working on it, and I, renamed it. It was named something totally different. And I said, I think we should call it Kingdom Business. And I was very, I gave a lot of notes on the rebel character, who's kind of the character that is trying to threaten the reign of Yolanda Adams' character in the story. So, yes, it was one of those that they were working on it, and they brought it to me, and I kind of helped build the team. And thankfully BET said yes, and we produced it last fall, and now it'll be out on May 19th.
A few years ago, speaking of Kirk Franklin, a few years ago, I was in the Devil Words, and he mentioned that there were some preliminary discussions or whatever about a movie of his life.
Yeah.
And it seemed like later I saw your name attached to it again, like there's DeVon again. So is that still something that's percolating somewhere?
Yes. I'm working on it as we speak. The thing about all movies, every movie, every story takes on a life of its own. Like, no matter how much I want to rush, some movies I can move fast, some movies I just have to let the process dictate the promise. And so with Kirk's movie, I've been working on it for years, and we're doing another pass on the script. And so I think we're this close to actually getting it done. So feeling really good about it. And it's really the next movie I want to make. And I'm putting all my resources and effort and energy into seeing if that's the reality.
DeVon, you've been involved in entertainment for a while, and we've talked about it before in other interviews. When you look back over what you've done, and I could say it probably in my own words, but what would you say is what you brought to the table to the entertainment industry, to movies, or to entertainment from your perspective or your worldview? What kind of impact do you feel like your projects have had on the population? Let's say that.
Hope. I think that's been the biggest through line: hope, inspiration, information. I think that when you look at, all the movies I've done and been involved in and all the books and now moving into television, really wanting to put quality stories into the culture, into our community that have some element of hope or inspiration. I mean, that's really the through line. And I think that, I've made good on my intention and, and I feel like I'm just getting started. I think I have such a long way to
Right.
go. And so, what that impact will continue to be, only time will tell and only history will record. But my intention is to put things in the world that have an uplifting quality. And uplifting doesn't mean soft, and it doesn't mean, things that preach to the choir. No, stories that are challenging with great conflict, great characters, but also great victory. And that's what I love to put in the world.
With the advent of all the streaming opportunities that are out now and just all of that just branching out, how's that changed how you approach projects? Are there projects now that you say, uh, I wouldn't dream of trying to do a movie about that, but now streaming thing might be a possibility.
No, no, it's really more about great stories, period. Like even with all the streaming that's coming and the opportunities to stream, it doesn't lessen the bar of needing great stories. So I'm still attracted to great stories. I seek great stories out and I do my best to develop them and bring them to the world.
And you've just got so much energy, and you're probably a lot like me. You get bored if you just do one thing, right?
Yeah,
So you
that's
just keep
true. That's true.
keep
Gotta
doing a
keep
bunch of things, keep
that's
yourself
right.
busy, and give your love to your mom and all your
Yes.
wonderful great aunts, because they seem like they're really great people.
Oh, they're the best. They are the best. They are my village, and I would be nowhere without them. So I absolutely will.
Yeah. Thank you, Devon.
You got it.
I always love talking to you.
Likewise, my brother. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, peace.
Bye bye.